Right now I live on 160 wild acres in Arkansas with 100 horses, gardens, goats. So like I'm good.
You're set.
Probably what I'm grabbing is a gun, just because I just need to make sure no one comes and takes the horses.
Yeah, I'm Danielle Forte with Pop Culture Planet today. How are you guys doing?
Hey, good, thank you.
Good. How are you?
Good. I watched the movie actually last night, so I'm very excited to ask you guys some
Awesome.
questions.
Awesome.
Bailey, I want to start with you. Do you think there are similarities with previous characters you've played, such as Deputy Branch Connolly and Longmire, to your character Jeff?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like with Branch for the first time really in my career, I was able to lean into the flaws of the character and really humanize him. So I think, at that point in my career, that was the best role I'd been offered to date, probably, my best performance and most relatable. Branch Connolly started out, you didn't like him, he's there, he's competing with Longmire with the lead. And then he gets hurt, and then by the end, hopefully, you miss him when he's gone. And what's very different with Jeff is he kind of starts in that place. He's been there, he's done that, he's done, however many missions overseas, DEA, CIA, he's seen it all and been there, done that. So by, Jeff's opening scene, to me, it's one of the most powerful in the film for me because it's all right there with all his flaws and not to I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but you get it in the first couple of minutes where this dude's coming from. He's
Oh, yeah.
barely hanging on.
So you've kind of played a lot of gruff characters. Is that a coincidence, or is there something that draws you to these characters?
Oh, what are you trying to say with that question right there? You're absolutely 100% right. I feel like, back in my 30s, earlier in my career, I was always striving for perfection and played characters like that and tried to make them perfect. Whereas at this stage, it's not my
Mm,
first rodeo. It is what it is.
mhm.
And as an artist, as an actor, my favorite thing is to find those flaws and to lean into those and do all the work and then just surrender and let it happen.
Yeah.
And I think you get to see that throughout Homestead and why it's potentially, you know, my favorite performance of my career.
Jesse, you've been in a lot of rom-coms. So what was challenging going into this role? How was it
Yeah,
Uh,
different?
he's funnier than I am. I'm,
sorry, what was the question? I heard rom-com and just laughed.
Yeah. Well, you've been in a good
Yes,
amount. So
yes.
what's different on a set like this, like Homestead? It's an action thriller type
Oh,
movie.
oh, it's 100% different. It's a different character, different role, the different depth, and that's just the way movies are, right? Like you have to approach everyone as kind of like one of your kids. It's like, oh yeah, it's got a different personality, it has a different vibe, has a different tone, and I love it. Like I actually, as a performer, I can't speak for all performers, but I think I love jumping around. It's like, man, I
Mhm.
want to do the rom-com. There's a great group of people over here that love those films, and I want to do the action, and I want to do the comedy, and you hope as a performer to have an opportunity to do that, and I am very blessed and thankful to play a Green Beret on this side and then go play the rom-com, Christmas movie over here. And I'm just thankful. And this is a really great experience for me, though. Homestead has been one of the best, probably, trips of my entire career so far.
Yeah, you're like a Canadian McConaughey, pretty much, basically. I mean, he does it all. This guy, he does it all. He does. See, he's funny, and then you
A
do the
Canadian
military thing.
McConaughey. All
He's
right,
gonna,
all right, all right.
all right,
That
all
should
right.
just be on the IMDb. Canadian
Yeah, that's
McConaughey.
right. Like, can
I'm
we
gonna.
please? That's his new nickname. Please put that on IMDb.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
How do you guys think you personally would fare in this situation, like a post-apocalypse situation?
Better than I would have,
Yeah,
before we shot the film.
yeah.
I'm more prepared now, and
Mhm.
it's just it's not that far-fetched. So, we're not trying to scare anybody with this film, but maybe wake up a little bit and be ready. Having a go bag is a good idea. Knowing
Hmm.
how to, grow some food,
Yeah.
having extra water on hand, that's a good idea for all of us. Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you on that one. I'm feel more prepared now that I'm learning from all these folks because now we're interviewing people. Jason, You know, he wrote the books, Black Autumn. He's one of our writers, showrunners. He owns the 300-acre homestead.
Yeah.
I learned more from him in 5 minutes than ever. I'm like, okay, Jason, tell me about that field. And he goes off. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
5 minutes
Okay.
later, you got an education in irrigation or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm like, oh, Lord, please help me do this. I actually hope Homestead does so well I can buy a homestead. So, and I believe that for all of us. So I'm like,
Yeah.
let's do this.
It kind of seems as though as recently you've gravitated towards characters who are in a setting similar to that of the actual homestead in this film,
I
and
know.
even closer to you personally.
I
So
know. It's
can
weird,
you
right?
go, yeah, can you go into that? Can you go into what drew you to this character specifically? And do you like to choose characters that you can personally relate to?
Look, I do most things in my life based on intuitive movement, right? So if the thing inside me pulls me in that direction, sometimes I don't even know why. I just like, okay, I'm just gonna go do that. I mean, I even buy things. I call it intuitive purchasing. I'll be at a store and I'll get this thing and I'll be like, why am I buying this thing? Like I have no use for this. I don't even know what I'm doing, but like I'm compelled to get that, to bring that back with me. And do you know, maybe 3 weeks later, I'll have a need for that thing. So I've gotten to know that, and I can do that with animals. Even when I pull animals, like rescue them, I'll be like, I don't know why you're coming with me, but we'll come. And then their home shows up, and three little girls just like cherish that animal forever. So I have something in me that is guiding me and telling me how to move, and I just trust it. And I don't second guess it. I don't know what it is, and that's fine with me. I don't need to know, So with the projects, I feel like the same thing happens. Sometimes they'll come to me, or maybe I'm guided to this thing that turns into this thing, and then this is what it becomes. So I just go with it. That's kind of my MO. It's rare that a thing doesn't approach me and chase after me that I don't agree to on some level, because if it's coming for me, it's maybe it's supposed to be here.
So going into that, how'd you get involved in this project?
Well, this project was interesting because I saw a very early cut that teaser was going out to brands for brand partnerships, and one of my friends is one of the brands that's in the movie, and he showed me that clip, and I was like, "Ooh, I love a post-apocalyptic story. Like, it's like the next Walking Dead, but faith-based." And I was like, I want to talk to these producers. So I got them, and I got in contact with them, and I just sort of told them that this was me and this is the life I lead, and I'm really very similar to this character that you're looking for. And so they weren't in the casting process yet. It was still very early on. And once they got to that casting process, they opened it up and they started seeing people, and they wanted me to audition, but I was on another film filming every day and I could not make the tape. And I kind of thought, well, okay, if they can't, I can't send a tape in, so I'm gonna have to pass, I guess. And they circled back around and they sent me an offer. So I was like, great, let's do this, because I really love this story, and I think this character, I can really turn this character into something that you didn't even realize she could be.
You're in the midst of a nuclear apocalypse. What is the first thing you're going to grab out of your house, and where are you going?
Boy, well, I'm not leaving my house because right now I live on 160 wild acres in Arkansas with 100 horses, gardens, goats. So like I'm good.
You're set.
Probably what I'm grabbing is a gun, just because I just need to make sure no one comes and takes the horses. That's my main thing. Because I think the horses, when something like that happens, becomes one of the biggest commodities that exist.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
yeah, I think I would have to fortify the horses. I have to protect the horses.